Hi, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my February book haul. I acquired 8 books this month, which is a hell of a lot less than what I acquired in January. That was a massive book haul. If you haven't watched that, I'll link that down below so you can go and have a watch of that one. So I was restrained this month because I've got a hell of a lot of books on my TBR, so I'm not going to stop book buying because I mean, I love book shopping, who doesn't? So I think it would be stupid to put myself on a ban, but yeah, I've tried to restrict myself a little bit in those that I've chosen. So let's get into the books that I've got. The first 3 books that I'm going to show you I acquired in a local charity shop, and the first one is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This is the second Sarah Waters book I own now. I hauled one in January, again from a charity shop. This one says it's been shortlisted for both the Man Booker and the Orange Prize, so that sounds pretty good. And I believe this was made into some sort of a BBC series or ITV series, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this says on the back, London 1862, Sue Trinder, orphaned at birth, grows up among petty thieves, fingersmiths, under the rough but loving care of Mrs. Suxby and her family. But from the moment she draws breath, Sue's fate is linked to that of another orphan growing up in a gloomy mansion not too many miles away. So again, you've got the whole Victorian era thing, nice bit of historical fiction. Again, I've heard great things about Sarah Waters, so I'm looking forward to giving that one a go. And the other 2 books that I acquired in that charity shop were books 2 and 3 from the Grisha Trilogy. So I've got here book number 2, which is Siege and Storm, and book number 3, which is Ruin and Rising. I've obviously had a lot of people talk on BookTube about Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and that duology being absolutely brilliant. And people have said that you don't need to read the Grisha Trilogy first, but I'm the type of person that needs to do that kind of thing. So I saw these 2 together in a charity shop, and I thought, wow, that's absolutely fantastic. So I'm only missing Shadow and Bone now before I can actually start it. These 2 and the Sarah Waters novel that I showed you were 20p each. I mean, come on now. The next 2 I acquired when I was in Bath. I spent a couple of days in Bath over February half term with my husband, and of course we went shopping, and we went into the Waterstones in Bath city centre, and I picked up 2 books. The first one is this cloth-bound edition of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've been wanting to pick myself a copy of this up for a while, even more so now because I've read Rebecca recently, and that's based on Jane Eyre. I've heard that's based on Jane Eyre. So I wanted to pick up a copy, and I've had my eye on this cloth-bound edition for ages, and so I finally picked it up in there, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I think I'm reading 1984 at the moment as my classic, but I think after I finish that I'm going to pick up Jane Eyre. I have read parts of this before, I think, but I don't think I've read it all the way through. I think it was one of those ones that I picked down either when I was at A-level or in university, so it's high time that I pick that up now. The other one that I got when I was in that Waterstones is The Butcher's Hook by Janet Ellis. I saw a lot of people put this on their top books of 2016. I think Simon from Savage Reads put it on his top list. And I saw this, I think this is a Waterstones edition. It's got these lovely dyed edges. Yeah, so this says on the back, Georgian London in the summer of 1763. At 19, Anne Jacob, the elder daughter of well-to-do parents, meets Fub, the butcher's apprentice, and is awakened to the possibilities of joy and passion. Anne lives a sheltered life. Her home is a miserable place, and her parents have already chosen a more suitable husband for her than Fub. But Anne is an unusual young woman and is determined to pursue her own happiness in her own way, even if that means getting a little blood on her hands. So that sounds really, really good. Yeah, a bit of historical fiction, a bit of literary fiction, a bit of intrigue in there. And like I said, this is a beautiful edition. so I got that one as well. Next up is a book that I won in a Goodreads competition. I love entering those giveaways on Goodreads, and I've seen it in quite a few bookshops since then, and that is The House at Bishopsgate by Katie Hickman. This says on the back, 1611, Paul Pinder, rich merchant of the Levant Company, set sail for England after 10 years in the Orient, bringing with him his wife Celia Lamprey and a legendary diamond. They arrive in London to find a country much changed. James I has succeeded Queen Elizabeth, and an artistic renaissance is flourishing. Now carpenters, gardeners and footmen descend on Pinder's great house at Bishopsgate, restoring its former splendour. But all is not as it seems. Celia is frail, the marriage childless. Between the couple lies an unspoken darkness. And as they await the arrival of Celia's friend Annetta, another woman, the alluring widow Frances Sydenham becomes increasingly indispensable to the running of the household and the happiness of its inhabitants. But who is this strange woman and what are her real motives? So again, we've got historical fiction, there's a bit of a trend here. But this one is set in a bit earlier, so we've got the early 1600s. And centres around a house, so that sounds really, really good. Again, a bit of intrigue, a bit of mystery. This is an uncorrected proof copy. I've seen the cover in bookshops and I think it's very, very similar to this. But yeah, so got that. I had to take some books back to the library, and one of them I hadn't got around to reading yet, and then I spotted it in my local supermarket for cheaper than you would find in a bookshop, so I picked it up. Like, I haven't read it, but I had to take it back and I was a bit gutted about it. And that is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Yeah, like I said, I hauled this in a library haul at the beginning of January as being a thriller that I wanted to read, because I'd heard some good things about it, and some not so good things, so I wanted to kind of see what my opinion is. This is about a journalist who goes on a new cruise liner. She's reporting on what this new cruise liner is like, and then she sees somebody go overboard, but nobody else seems to remember that they were ever on board the ship. So it's about that kind of thing unfolding. So yeah, like I said, I had to pick up a copy of that. The last novel I've got to show you is probably the one that I'm most excited about reading, and I'll let you guys know why, and that is The Silk Weaver by Liz Trunell. Liz Trunell is a local author to me. She lives in Essex like I do, so that's really cool. But I went to a Waterstones event last week where she spoke about why she'd written this novel, kind of her inspiration behind it, all of the research that she did and how it came to be and that sort of thing. So I went to this event and I met her and got a copy of the book, and she signed it for me. So you can see there, to Lindsay with best wishes. So it's really, really interesting listening to her talk. She is I've read one of her other novels, which is The Poppy Factory, and she's more renowned for writing 20th century historical fiction, but The Silk Weaver is set in the 18th century. And she talked about the fact that actually her family have been silk weavers in the past, and it's still, that tradition is still in her family. So she wanted to do research into that, and she had this idea for basing one of her novels on it. And just the way she described it just made it sound really, really good and really intriguing. So this says on the back, 1760, Spitalfields. Anna Butterfield's life is about to change forever as she moves from her idyllic Suffolk home to be introduced into London society. A chance encounter with a French silk weaver, Henri, draws her into the volatile world of the city's burgeoning silk trade. Henri is working on his masterpiece to become a master weaver and freeman. Anna longs to become an artist while struggling against pressure from her uncle's family to marry a wealthy young lawyer. As their lives become ever more intertwined, Henri realises that Anna's designs could give them both an opportunity for freedom. But his world becomes more dangerous by the day as riots threaten to tear them apart forever. Inspired by real historical events and characters, The Silk Weaver is a captivating, unforgettable story of illicit romance in a time of enlightenment and social upheaval. So like I said, that's the one I'm excited to read the most. I really enjoyed reading The Poppy Factory, and I wrote a blog post on it actually last year. And like I said, this is her most recent one, published at the beginning of February. So I'm looking forward to picking that one up as well. So here we go, guys. These are the 8 books that I acquired this month. Have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Do any of them look particularly interesting to you? I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.